Hardest working, best conditioned, most professional, most unselfish, toughest, meanest, and nastiest team in the league, described by Pat Riley, is what Heat culture really is. Heat culture isn't just showing up every day getting to work. It's more than that. The Miami Heat has a standard to live up to. The Heat has always had a winning culture. All the players coming into the organizations has to be ready to work to achieve this standard. The players in the Heat organization has to be ready for anything the sport throws at them. 5 a.m. workouts, the practices, games, and the conflict within. Hard work within the organization isn't enough. The players have to show why they are representing the culture. This organization has trust and patience within their players to know that they are going to achieve the greatness that the president and coaches brought them there to do. The players have to sacrifice a lot for this team. They have to be ready for whatever gets thrown their way, and they have to show that they want to be there. Dedication and a winning attitude plays a role in the culture. It's what fans and players get drawn to. The players have to show what they have to make this organization better than they have in the past seasons. The players have to go into each practice thinking that these practices should be better than the games that they play ahead. Each player in the Heat organization has to be confident while also being humble when their number is called. The coaches like to tell their players in training camp that they have to be the most prepared and that it's not how you win, it's how you prepare. The coaches hold everyone in the organization accountable, even the best veteran player. The culture means always believing in their self and to overcome the odds that get thrown their way. Every year, the other 29 teams don't count out the Heat because they know how crazy Heat culture can be. The Heat has 2 sayings that the organization lives by: no excuses and to get 1% better. Everyone in this organization plays a part in what the Heat culture stands for and is. Pat Riley knows a thing or two when it comes to the culture that gets talked about. Riley is one of the most successful players, coaches, and executives. Riley was the coach, but when he knew that it was time to step down and become president, he offered the head coaching position to a guy who at the time was just a video coordinator. Eric Spoelstra had the heart and love for the game that Riley was looking for. Spo started out as an assistant coach, video coordinator, advanced scout, director of scouting, the development coach, to the head coach. Spoelstra didn't care what his job was as long as he was a part of the game. Spoelstra ended up being the youngest head coach in the NBA at the time, so he had an intention to work harder than anyone else. When Spo first started coaching, players wanted him fired because of his intense coaching style, but Riley trusted him to make it right. Every game that the Heat lost, Spo would go into the video coordinating room to watch the losing footage to see what went wrong and what they could do better. Players and coaches call him no problem because everything that they needed from Spo, it was always no problem. Recent players that played under Spo said he prepared and coached for every game like it was his last. Jimmy Butler has done a lot for the culture. Being nicknamed Jimmy Buckets and Playoff Jimmy, Butler got traded to the Heat and the culture. A few years later, he's seen the NBA Finals. Butler shows up and shows off each game, wants to get better, and wants the fan base to love him. The Heat organization has a lot of trust in the undrafted players. These players are often overlooked in the NBA. Each game, the bench shows out to prove that they have a reason to be there. Udonis Haslem was the first undrafted player to be signed by the Heat in the early 2000s. Max Strus tore his ACL and was cut by his former NBA team. All the other 29 teams looked away, but Miami saw something special that can contribute to the culture. Gabe Vincent tore his ACL in college. He got told because of his injury he would never make the NBA. He would just be better off being a coach. He then later found a place in the Miami Heat. Caleb Martin played for the Hornets with his twin brother until Caleb was cut. No team reached out to offer a contract. Martin is really close friends with the rapper J. Cole. J. Cole has connections with the Heat and called the assistants and talked about Martin. The Heat later gave Martin the chance if he worked as hard as everyone else did. Duncan Robinson had no NBA offers as he was coming out of college. Duncan got an invite to work out at the Heat facility. The coaches that were there said that was the most incredible shooting workout that has ever been done in a while. The Heat signed him in 2019, and then 2 years later, he signed the largest contract in NBA history for an undrafted player. There are a lot of reasons behind Heat culture. I admire Heat culture because if you want to be a part of something big, you have to not only work, but show that you want to be there.